Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lovely series in this very, very special edition that I'm here today with Bashak. And without further ado, I would just like for you to introduce yourself for those who don't know who Bashak is and what they're going to learn today.
Okay, thank you, and hi everyone. My name is Başak. I am originally from Turkey, so this is a Turkish name. I've been currently based in Amsterdam. I work as a machine learning engineer for 5 years, um, currently at Booking.com.
Nice, amazing. And Bashak, you are here because one of the amazing people that were interviewed recommended you, and that was your good colleague Maria. So can you explain
Yeah.
to me a bit what you and Maria are up to and how famous you are on LinkedIn now?
We're trying to be famous. So Maria and I used to work together at Ahold Delhaize, which is my previous company. She's still working there, and we worked together for 2.5 years, and we did quite cool things, amazing jobs. And then we decided to start a blog in MLOps. So we have a marvelous MLOps together. It's our baby. It's been just 4 days more than a year. We celebrated our
Oh
anniversary
yeah,
4 days ago on
congratulations.
6th. Yeah, thank you, on 6th April. And since then, we've been sharing weekly contents in MLOps, some fun, like some educative contents, fun informations, and it's also great environment to exchange knowledge with other experts in the field. And we are very happy for the community that we have built together.
Amazing, amazing. And for those who don't know much, like I'm a little bit biased for it, but what is MLOps?
Okay, so machine learning operations is MLOps, and it's about bringing data science model into production. And often companies invest in data science, but forget MLOps. But without the operational side of things, you don't really get much value out of the data science models. So MLOps plays a crucial role in end-to-end ML development cycle, and we are very passionate about it.
Fantastic. And you build this small community, right? How many people are now subscribed and following the
We're,
MLOps?
we are almost 10,000,
Oof.
very close. um, Maybe when this episode is released, will be already 10,000. Who knows?
Yes, I'm sure this will give you a boost. If you're close 10,000, we're going to get you a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Uh, and hoping you get there much more further because it's an amazing job that you're all doing. And there's always a little bit of humor on it. I love it.
Yeah, you do that well as well.
I
I
try,
love
I
your
try.
humor as well. No, we really enjoy writing. We really enjoy sharing our knowledge and experiences. And it also allowed us to meet other cool people in the field. We also had the chance to talk to them or co-author in articles with them. And having a blog in any kind of field forces you to stay up to date and continue learning. This is the best part. You cannot just manage a blog without actually following the trends and the technology. So the best part is actually it keeps us knowledgeable in the field and up to date.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Like it's kind of that accountability feeling, right? You feel you don't want to leave the people down, if it's one, five, or 10,000 people. You want to give them the best, and you will spend hours research. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, how much time do you spend on it? Like considering research and writing articles, because well, 10,000 people, it's a lot. So, what is it? 1 hour, 10 hours, 40 hours?
I think we dedicate a few evenings and one day in the weekend. Usually, this is like our average. But some weeks we're also lazy or we are caught up with other work stuff or personal stuff, so it delays. But don't forget, this is something we do for ourselves and we get energy from it. So I never see marvelous envelopes as a duty or as a task to finish. It's where I feel I'm doing something for myself, also for the community, and I am very satisfied with the work I do there.
Oh, amazing, amazing. And all this time, like we started also the Lovely series 9 months ago, 8 months ago. We also feel that energy and also on. But taking a step back into it, when we started, we want to talk about women in tech and celebrate and promote and give all the necessary sponsorship, coaching, mentoring that is needed, required, and deserved for this. But I'm interesting. How did technology came to you? How did Başak became interested, and what led you to become this MLOps specialist nowadays?
All right, so here's a story. I think as a child of 90s, the technology was omnipresent during my teenage years, and it was shaping the world. And I witnessed the rapid evolution of digital devices and softwares. I think that inspired me to decide to pursue a degree in computer science at the university. So that's how I stepped into this tech world. My journey has quite a tech heavy journey. It started with my education. So I completed my computer science and engineering degree during my bachelor in Turkey. I initially hated programming. I hated it. It was not my thing. But then I met machine learning, and machine learning was
Uh,
cool. It had statistics. I love it. Maths. I love it. And creating something that can predict based on data, it was super cool. And this is the year 2014-15. So it was also the time where machine learning and AI started to boom. So it was very much aligned with the industry trend and also the developments. So then I
mm,
decided, okay, uh, I need to continue with this. And I have found an AI master in the Netherlands at the University of Amsterdam. That's how I moved to the Netherlands. So it was 7 years ago in 2017. I completed my master in AI. During my master, I started working as an intern. So I worked in the industry and I really liked it because during the studies, everything is research based and you have nice metrics, but they are not being used. But when you work in a company that makes use of machine learning or AI technology, it's super cool to see that it's actually being valuable, it's impactful. So right after my graduation, I started working as ML engineer, which was a
mm.
combination of both my software skills from bachelor and also the ML expertise from my master.
And what was that for you? Like coming from this research kind of like mindset and all of it to internship that I have to put hands on. A lot of people struggle on this. How did you feel on the first stages of it?
I think that usually the first years are always learning, because at the university in a course, when what you build can be just a notebook, can be just a Python script. But in a real world, in a real use case, there are so many other technologies around it that you need to learn. So the first couple of years, it's always learning, but the first couple of years is really meeting the technology and the tools that is being used in companies. Um, for me, it was a fun journey because I love learnings. I love learning new tools, new technologies. So, so my first 2 years was really learning curve was super high.
Oh, amazing, amazing. And from the graduation, also the undergrad stud and the Amsterdam part, did you at that moment like notice, or did you start to realize that this was a field that had more men than women, or?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, honestly, since day one, I stepped into my first programming course. It was like men dominated. It's still, I still feel like it's a boys' club sometimes. Um, but what, so it's something I'm used to, having less women in my field, in tech field in general. But what I'm disappointed the most is that there are so little women in the tech leadership positions. And I don't know if this is because of women's preferences or just a statistical fact. I really would be happy to see more women managing teams in technical fields. And I think this can happen by seeing more female representatives in those positions. So if we see
Mhm.
more female in management positions in tech, we will be more inspired to become one.
Yeah, yeah. I completely I completely recognize that pattern. And some other weird ones that I always like to discuss that is sometimes the tech woman in the team is the one like, hey, we need to organize the team outing. Don't you want to take care of finding the venue and identify the place? Or, oh, you speak so well and you're so much more communicative than the rest of the team. Have you ever thought about becoming a product owner or a product manager? Like
Oh my god.
all these aggressions that people think they are giving you an opportunity or that they are like recognizing you. It's not coming from a bad place. It happens so often.
It's funny because on my second or third week at Booking.com, my current company, I organized the team event. I
Oh,
picked the location. I made the reservation. Yeah.
yeah, it's this society way that says to a lot of the girls and the young and you see on videos, and
Hmm.
it's not everyone's parents' fault. It's not that, but it's like yes, women need to pay attention to everything. They need to be more organized. They need to be this. They need to, and this is so harmful on the long term.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do think it's getting a little bit better in a few countries. I come from Brazil, and it's a very macho driven culture. Here in the Netherlands, it's a little bit less, but the pay gap and all this stuff, they are
Hmm.
still huge here.
No, I agree. I agree. I think women can really come with good soft skills. And what I really see in like today's tech world, we often focus on tech skills like coding, using certain tools, system designing, which are important. But after working 5 years in this field, I've come to a realization that something else matters as just, which is soft skills. It's good communication, it's understanding other, making personal connections, getting along with people. And women do this probably well, and that's why we can actually make difference. And in tech companies, they usually care a lot about tech skills. Also, when it comes to hiring, like if you can code, you're hired. But sometimes they forget about the soft skills. Like we are all smart people, but imagine a team of smart people who can build things but cannot work together smoothly. That's not fun. So
And that
I
happens
mean,
so often.
yeah, and so I think yeah, the tech skills can help us to create cool stuff, but soft skills help us to work better together. And I think women are better at those soft skills, so they really bring a different perspective to the teams.
Yeah, and yeah, I completely on with it. And I think that it also relates a lot to the bar, right? I think that women are held to such a higher bar related to everything else. I was reading this funny thing in Brazil now. We, for the first time, started to have like women narrating football matches, soccer matches
Hmm.
in the TV, and apparently when they make mistakes, like instead of calling that person Maria and calling the person as Tiago, like
Mm-hmm.
something common, you're watching 22 people running after a ball,
Yeah.
you can make mistakes. They make memes out of it like crazy. Like, look at how bad she is as a narrator, or like stuff like that. While male narrators have been narrating for the last 60 years, they make plenty of mistakes and nobody made a fuss about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just one example outside of tech that I think in tech we have that as well. The women that persist in tech and that stay for like 5, 10, 20 years, they are so good. It's crazy the
Mm-hmm.
quality of the women that I've worked in tech. While with males, a lot of good, but a lot of mediocrity happens there.
Yeah.
I feel that the bar is a lot higher, and it's interesting to hear it. But
Yeah.
I'm curious about you. Like, did you feel that any point you had a challenge and you had to overcome something because you were not a tech bro?
I do accept that I have imposter syndrome, just like many people in the field. I don't think this is exclusive to my gender. I think this is more common than we even think. Um, but I realize that at least this is a personal story. Men comes with a higher confidence in tech, whereas woman comes with less confidence, which does not mean less knowledge or less expertise. I think it's just a perspective difference, and I don't know if this is the boys' club giving us less confidence or giving us less room to be confident, or just us feeling left outside. But this is the reality, and I'm accepting it. Also, I think working in such a dynamic field doesn't help, because every day we hear about a new technology, a new tool, a new model, every day, and it's such a dynamic field that it's so easy to have a notion of, oh, I don't know enough, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not experienced enough. But it it's all about having a potential. You don't have It's impossible to master everything, but knowing enough is enough. And you have the potential. You have the potential to learn and gain expertise in a short amount of time if necessary.
Yeah.
I observed this imposter syndrome in myself working in this field. But I don't dare to say this is happening to me because I'm a woman. But
No, of
yeah.
course not. But and how do you try to overcome this feeling that you have of imposter syndrome? Like, what do you do to, or you just like, no, I'm just gonna push through it. I know it's not real.
I think there are some clues that we can pick up from the work environment as a confirmation that we are enough. Um, Usually, picking up a task that have absolutely no clue or no expertise helps, because I prove my potential to myself by accomplishing it.
Mm.
We have a blog in MLOps, and sometimes um, for a specific tool or a specific um, model that I'm writing about, I don't know anything about just right before I start writing the article, but I learn on the way. I implement an example, I tried it out, and then I write an article about it, which looks like I'm a master of the tool, but actually I just learned. Um, so those examples make me realize that I really have the potential, and I should be confident enough that I can accomplish a task even though I am not experienced with it beforehand. Because we are all experienced somehow, and we are experienced with learning a new tool, starting a new project, and knowing how to gain the knowledge and the right sources and everything.
Ah, that's a good one. And has it ever happened? I assume yes, but better to ask that at some point you pick it up a thing and you think, oh, I'm gonna be over with it in 8 hours, and you don't get there. Like, how do you ask for help? Like, how do you get more information, more stuff? Do you call Maria? Do you go on the internet? Like, how do you look for validation that, like, hey, I'm not stupid. This is just hard, and I'm gonna get it at some point.
It happens every day. It happens every day. And the biggest satisfaction I get from such case is, in case it's not because of me, but it's a bug in the system. And spending so many hours and not fixing it is not my problem. It's just a bug in the system. But how I solve things, how I find information, I'm never afraid of asking questions. I first try it myself, try all my sources, internet, or yeah, we nowadays we use also ChatGPT, right? It's a super, or any kind of LLM model. I seek out information. If not found, then I am not afraid of asking colleagues. But usually, when I go to a person for help, I have already tried all my ways, and this is also for everyone. It's a cliche, but there is no such a thing as silly question. The only silly question is the one left unasked.
Yep. Yeah, there are so many cliches in
Yeah.
communication, tech, and all of it that we are afraid to say it again because it's a cliche. But that one is for sure. And the other one that I usually tell people is sometimes like over communicate on status and don't assume things. Like, oh, I'm waiting for this other team to finish this API and all of it. Like,
Hmm.
don't keep it waiting too much. Go and ask how's it going and if you can help in anything. But don't do every 5 minutes, then you get annoying. But
No. And
nice
sometimes it's okay to be assertive as well.
for sure.
That's something I had to learn for myself. It's a personal trait that is missing, um, but it's sometimes okay to communicate the requirements or the expectations directly, and be a little bit of assertive. There's no
Yeah.
harm in that. Not too
No.
much, but
No. But then you go into the a woman being assertive is a little bit
oh yeah.
bitchy or a little bit bossy. Those are the adjectives that I hear a lot, and I'm always like, oh, please come on. So, how do you feel about those distinct things that people try to be like? Have you ever felt personally attacked just because of the fact that you were a woman? And if you like to share, please
Hmm.
share. If not, we can move on.
No, not really. Not at the work environment, at least. I'm lucky because I started my career in the Netherlands and I worked in Dutch companies. And I've always had a nice working environment, healthy and welcoming. So I'm lucky with that. Um, Only one example I will give without giving any names, of course.
Yeah.
I was interviewing with a company and I checked their website and there was so many men and so little women because they had profiles of every employee of the
Hmm.
company. But it was like the ratio was really, I don't know, like 8% women and then the rest is men. And I remember asking this to the HR person, hey, why there are so little women? And I got a response, oh, that's because we have high standards. Excuse me, I am the
Uh,
woman you're interviewing with, and you cannot say this to me.
what?
Yeah, I didn't, of course, like it. Um, this was the only
No.
experience I had.
Wow.
Mm,
Tricky one.
but I wouldn't probably choose such a working environment for myself.
Yeah, I
That's the
understand.
treatment.
Understand. And like you done your undergrad, grads, you've been working for like 4 to 5 years here. Have you seen like an evolution, a change in how the tech industry approaches pay gap, women and men, and like
Mm.
all of that?
I think for pay gap, it can be really transparent to everyone. And I don't know if it's not the case, but um, the companies, if they're valuing their employees, um, at least the pay scale, there is always a pay scale, and there shouldn't be any differentiation between men and women because we all dedicate the same amount of time, the same amount of effort, or at least we deliver the same amount of work. So there shouldn't be any. But these things are behind the scenes. Like we don't know who gets how much, and um, we also don't know how the negotiation works. I read that women negotiate less than men. And as a woman also working in this field, I know for myself, I don't negotiate. I'm happy with what I'm given. But men really negotiate. So that's maybe one of the reasons of why there is such a pay gap, if there is. But I think the approach should be the following: that if there is a position, regardless of who you hire for, there has to be a range, salary range that should be given to the person who's chosen, who's given the offer, regardless of the gender and regardless of
Hmm.
how the negotiation works.
Mm. Yeah, I think the majority of the large companies that have this quite established, they do have that like a
Yeah,
salary range. Uh, but that salary range sometimes is too big, and when you go
yeah,
into the individual numbers and you pick it up, you can start to see that there is a pay gap between, for example, media or data science working at this company.
hmm.
Men are on the higher range compared to the women, and that can be to several factors. But it's a constant struggle I see, and the same thing with ratios, like companies that devise we have 30% of women and 70% of men. Like, okay, but how is that distributed in your team board, in your leadership
Yeah.
position, in management positions? What about history? Like, there is so many things on it. But have you seen any action or any change on this 5 years related to women in tech that you have felt like, oh, I think it's getting better or
Hmm.
not? Or what is your take on it?
Um, I wouldn't believe that it's getting better. I am quite optimistic about it because companies started to really invest in hiring more women and that has nothing to do with the high standards. It's really giving more. It's just giving opportunities to women. Or I do see in my current company, actually, I can give, because this is a very positive example, I think I can give as an example from Booking, that they're really encouraging women to pursue more management careers, to pursue the career that can become leaders. And it's really nice environment to be in. I also know there are some initiatives to hire more women to have a better balance in certain teams. And by the way, I never believe in that statement, oh, we have 30% women, but is that the case for each department? You can have 90% women in one team and then 10 in another, right? So I
Hmm.
think, especially for the tech field or the tech teams, uh, that's relatively smaller
Yeah.
ratio.
Yeah. Ah, interesting. Yeah, especially when you talk on those large companies that have thousands of hundreds of thousands of employees. Like if you dissect it, you're gonna get very, very different things. Okay, interesting. And one of the other things that is quite common that I talk to everyone is that usually women, especially when they have a relationship or partners or kids and all of it, they have a lot more to do at home. So they have that third work part of life that is work in the morning, in the afternoon at your regular
Hmm.
job, and then you have to work at home. Uh, and that requires a lot of self knowledge into how to balance your work life part of it. So I'm curious about you, like, what do you do to stay sane, to manage that work life balance?
I guess for me it's slightly easier because I don't have kids, like bigger responsibility in a personal life. But I think there is a recipe for a good work-life balance with three main ingredients. One is a company who cares about their employees, and two, a job that gives you energy regardless of how many hours you commit. And three, you have to be a person who knows there's a life after work. For the first one, for the first ingredient, having a company that genuinely cares about their employees' well-being is really important. And I feel lucky for living in the Netherlands. I've experienced mostly a positive working culture where mental health is really prioritized by the company.
Hmm.
And for the second one, finding a job that really fuels your energy is also something up to you. I may not be a good example for this one because I have changed jobs almost every 2 years so far. But that is because if I am losing the spark, then I'm not afraid of exploring the new opportunities and make a switch.
Hmm.
Because I try to remain engaged and enthusiastic about my work. So if that stops, then I'm not afraid of leaving my comfort zone and looking for something else. And this is definitely not saying that we should switch jobs often. It's just an example. And the last ingredient is like maintaining a healthy perspective on the life outside of work is essential because nowadays we work from home. There is no physical switch off between work and the personal life.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to get caught up in the demands of a 40 hours of work week. So I try to remind myself to really switch off when the workday is finished. And I
Hmm.
know achieving this is not always easy. So I find ways like I put, for example, workout between work and then the evenings. I try to go to gym and work out because that's really a physical switch off because I'm absolutely not thinking about work when I'm running 10 miles
Wow.
um, or when
Yes.
I'm running at a speed of 10 miles. So, or I come to the office so that when I go back home, it's a different environment. So it's no
Yeah.
longer work. I really try to do that because if you have, um, think this as a web browser tab. If you have the tab open in your mind, also during the evening, also during the weekend, you're not really resting.
Yeah.
Your CPU is being used too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
this is a very geek joke from a tech girl.
I was gonna make an even geekier one, but let's move on because I was also gonna mention, like you said, about this work-life balance of not having the physical switch off. and I was like, "Wait, you work at Booking? You should be going to the office because it's a fancy new
I
multi-billion
am.
dollar office, so you have to go."
Apparently, it is the most expensive building in Amsterdam.
See, all of that
No, I'm
for a
definitely
great
coming to the
company.
office every day. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
enjoying it.
nice, nice. And nowadays, you already mentioned about this the soft skill and like all of that. That's the important part, and I think that's a common answer that we get from a lot of people here. But I'm
Hmm.
curious. You're working with machine learning. You hear about LLMs and AI all the time.
Hmm.
What is your take on it? Like, is it going to replace everyone's job? What do you think? How optimistic are you are? How pessimistic you are?
I am not pessimistic, but I'm also not um, carried away with the hype. It started with a huge excitement and enthusiasm LLMs a year ago, more than a year ago. What I see, however, is there's so much investment, so much development in LLMs. There is not always um, a representation of the research in LLMs in the industry, in the companies. A lot of companies wanted to invest in use cases using LLMs, but without really measuring the actual impact or defining even the KPIs. So what I see is there was a huge hype and a huge investment for LLMs. It's I think nowadays a bit more balanced, a bit more. Yeah, people started to think about, okay, so if this is a use case, is it actually going to work out, or what are the benefits, or they are more aware of the risks around customer facing applications. So this is my take on LLMs. In general, regarding AI, of course, when my parents ask me, so is AI going to take over the world? I say yes, but I will be the one using AI or controlling AI, so I'm fine. But in the real answer, in an honest answer, is I'm quite curious about the future. Even as a person working in this field directly, I am so surprised by how AI is integrated into everyday products. I see AI powered toothbrushes, AI powered hair dryers. I mean, AI powered laundry. Those things you would never imagine needing an AI for, but yet still they are using AI. So I'm actually very curious about the future, what else it will bring as AI powered.
Wow, AI powered toothbrushes. What do they do? Like,
They they basically detect your brushing style, and also they detect the part in your teeth that is not brushed.
ah. So instead of asking someone randomly on the street, like, do I have bad breath, like, or anything, you just like have from it. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's an evolution.
Hmm.
Wow, nice,
And the
nice.
laundry machine is it's also very cool. Is basically it detects the type of the fabric and the weight, and then it adjusts the program automatically that you don't have to choose.
That would be helpful because I always put on the same mode every time.
Yeah, I do that as well, but it still does not differentiate the color. So
No,
until
no,
then, I'm not.
no.
Until then, I'm not buying an AI powered laundry machine.
Damn it. Yeah, but like 5 years ago, it was this IoT thing as well. Like all these devices had to have IoT, right? We had this fridges that had a screen that you could browse the internet and all of it. I don't see those things anymore. But I think AI, it's a different game. I think it's definitely going to be here to stay and to make things better.
Yeah,
I just hope people don't get disappointed about the high expectations and what is actually going to deliver.
that's actually true because nowadays we're setting high expectations by showing how much improvements and innovations there is in the field. Uh, yeah, but when there's high expectation, there's also more research and more focus and more investment. So
Yeah,
more demand, more motivation.
yeah. And what about you? Like you already achieved a lot since you start doing this. Like changing jobs and career skyrocketing and LinkedIn and the 10,000 followers on the marvelous MLOps. And I'm sure you have a plan for what comes next. I won't go with the how do you see yourself in 5 years kind of BS, but like, what is the next step for Bashak? What do you want to do?
Oh, I have a cliche answer, which is becoming a role model for other women in tech. Because the MLOps field, as we also said, it still feels like male dominated, and I really hope to use my expertise to mentor and advocate for more women entering the field. And we need diverse perspectives to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI. We need more women. We say that. I actually now remind. I just remembered a moment which
Hmm.
really made me proud of myself. I was um, I was giving programming courses to high school graduates in Amsterdam, so international students. And
Wow.
um, I, at the end of the semester, after we completed the course, a female student came to me and said, "I wasn't thinking of becoming a computer engineer, computer scientist, but now after listening to you and seeing you as an example, I want to become one."
Wow.
So I made one female entering to this field, at least
Wow.
one, and it was such a huge satisfaction and happy moment for me.
Wow. That must be amazing. Like hearing that.
So
And I'm
hearing that
pretty
exactly.
and I'm pretty sure she's not the only one that is now looking up at you. And I know with the impact that you are all doing, it's gonna get even better and better. And I'm sure that soon I'm gonna see Bashak leading its own startup, having its own stuff, or like doing something. And I'm looking forward to it. But before we
Thank you.
go, I'd love to hear from you. Who do you want to see on the next edition of the Lovely series?
Li Yin. She is based in San Francisco. She recently, well, a couple months ago, started her own company, Sylvia AI. And I think as a woman in tech, starting her own company all by herself is such a cool and encouraging thing. So I really admire her, and I would love to see her in this channel.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Then everyone and Lee know that we're gonna go after you after this. And Bashak, thank you very much for your time. Any last message that you want to leave to people, or just keep the suspense
I
on it?
do want actually. Yeah, I do want, especially for women in this field. Um, really embrace your unique perspective. It's not a weakness, it's a strength. And don't try to fit in, try to stand out. Because whatever culture you have in your working environment, you being yourself will bring a value, not being like others.
Fantastic. And with that, thank you very much, Bashak, and thank you everyone. And I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. It was super fun.
Bye bye.